Speech off.
Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. So I'm here to do part 1 of what I added to Goodreads in May, since we're in the middle of the month. This is May 15th. So, actually, is it May 16th? Who cares? Anyway, it's not a very big list for once. And surprisingly, a lot of these books are ones that I found myself. So, actually, this first one, I can't remember where I found it because I forgot to write it down. It's The Book of Doors by Gareth Brown. I know I heard about this from the Fabled bookshop, like, book preview at one point, but I cannot remember what actually convinced me to add this, because it wasn't that. Anyway, if you could open a door to anywhere, where would you go? In New York City, bookseller Cassie Andrews is living an unassuming life when she is given a gift by a favorite customer. It's a book, an unusual book, full of strange writing and mysterious drawings. And at the very front, there is a handwritten message to Cassie, telling her that this is the Book of Doors, and that any door is every door. What Cassie is about to discover is that the Book of Doors is a special book that bestows an extraordinary powers on whoever possesses it, and soon she and her best friend Izzy are exploring all that the Book of Doors can do, swept away from their quiet lives by the possibilities of traveling to anywhere they want. But the Book of Doors is not the only magical book in the world. There are other books that can do wondrous and dreadful things when wielded by dangerous and ruthless individuals who crave what Cassie now possesses. Suddenly, Cassie and Izzy are confronted by violence and danger, and the only person who can help them is, it seems, Drummond Fox. He is a man fleeing his own demons, a man with his own secret library of magical books that he has hidden away in the shadows for safekeeping, because there is a nameless evil out there that is hunting them all. Because some doors should never be opened. Wild, huh? Anyway, then I found this Amish book collection on Audible. This month's Audible sales had a lot of Amish books. I don't know what is up with Amish books lately. It's like I'm finding them everywhere. So this is the Every Amish Season collection by Kelly Irving. And it's 4 different novels. So I'll read the description of each because they don't look like they're related. First, we have Upon a Spring Breeze. Facing life as a young widow, Beth finds comfort only in tending the garden at an English-owned bed and breakfast, even as she doubts that new growth could ever come after such a long winter. Aiden tries to repress his guilt over his best friend Caleb's death and his long-standing feelings for Beth by working harder than ever. But as he spends time with the young son his friend left behind, he seems to be growing closer to the boy's beautiful mother as well. When a close-knit group of widows in her Amish community step in to help Beth find her way back to hope, she begins to wonder if God has a future for her after all. Beneath the Summer Sun. It's been 4 years since Jenny's husband died in a farming accident. Long enough that the elders in her Amish community think it's time to marry again for the sake of her 7 children. What they don't know is that grief isn't holding her back from a new relationship. Fear is. A terrible secret in her past keeps her from moving forward. Mennonite book salesman Nathan Walker stops by Jenny's farm whenever he's in the area. Despite years of conversation and dinners together, she never seems to relax around him. He knows he should move on, but something about her keeps drawing him back. Meanwhile, Leo Graber nurtures a decades-long love for Jenny, but guilt plagues him. Guilt for letting Jenny marry someone else, and guilt for his father's death on a hunting trip many years ago. How can anyone love him again, and how could he ever take a chance to love in return? Sounds like a love triangle there. 2 different guys? Which one will she choose? Through the Autumn Air. The mother of 10 and a widow of 7 years, Mary Catherine's last child is married, and she pours her abundant creative spirit into writing stories. Her dream is to open a bookstore with an English friend, but the church elders want this wayward widow to work in an Amish-owned store instead. When her old school friend Ezekiel offers her a position as a cook in the restaurant he owns after his wife died, she knows she should accept. When a mysterious English stranger breaks into her house to make himself a sandwich one autumn night, Mary Catherine doesn't call the sheriff. She turns to Ezekiel. They both see that Burke is in need of more than a meal, and Ezekiel offers him the job at the restaurant. As they set out to care for their new friend, Mary Catherine and Ezekiel find themselves often working together. Can two people in the autumns of their lives and so well versed in the pain of loss put the past behind them and trust in the hope that comes with each new season? With winter's first frost. Laura Kaufman has been a widow for 8 years. She tries to keep herself busy with her 9 children, 52 grandchildren, and 28 great-grandchildren. That should keep anyone busy and not depressed. But she can't stop thinking, what does God expect her to do with her days now? It's a question she can't answer until a friend needs someone to help care for her newborn twins and 3 older children. Zacharias suffers from Parkinson's disease. When his wife died 2 years earlier, his children insist he live with one of his grandsons. He feels he has outlived his usefulness. I guess that's the end of it. That was a very abrupt way to end a description. But yeah, those are the descriptions of the 4 books in that collection. So yeah, I'm interested. And I got it. Why not? It's 4 books in one. And it was $5. Then I found a series by Colleen Coble. I've heard a lot of the Christian fiction booktubers talk about her. Book Lover Amanda, Paperbacks and Ponytails. I can't think of others at the moment. For some reason, those are the 2 that come up when I think of Christian fiction booktubers. But yeah, Colleen Coble, a trilogy of hers was on this month's Audible sale. It's the Annie Peterson series. So we have Edge of Dust is the first one. Even though secrets lie off the coast of Rocky Harbor, the truth will set Annie Peterson free, if it doesn't kill her first. 9-year-old Annie Peterson's life changed the night her sister was kidnapped. The 2 had been outside playing on a dock, and Annie never forgave herself for her role in her sister's disappearance. 24 years later, and now a law enforcement ranger, Annie is still searching for answers as she grieves a new loss, the death of her husband and parents in a boating accident. But Annie and her 8-year-old daughter, Kylie, aren't the only people in the town of Rocky Harbor whose lives have been marred by tragedy. While managing the property around the Tremolo Resort and Marina she inherited, Annie discovers a dead body floating in the cold Superior surf and begins to work with the sheriff's office to tie the death to a series of other mysterious reports in the area. At the same time, her first love, John Destin, returns after 9 years away, reigniting the town's memory of a cold case he's been suspiciously linked to before he left to pursue his orthopedic residency. For the sake of her investigation and her heart, Annie tries to stay away. But avoiding John becomes impossible once Annie realizes she is being targeted by someone desperate to keep secrets from the past hidden. So that's the first one. And then we have Dark of Night and Break of Day. So yeah, I don't know if any of you guys have heard of this series, but it sounded good. So I got them all. Also, $5 each. Then I found another one. This is historical fiction. Daughters of the Occupation by Shelley Sanders. On one extraordinary day in 1940, Miriam Talon's comfortable life is shattered. While she gives birth to her second child, a son, she and her husband, Max Manya, okay, that's his name. The Soviets invade the Baltic state of Latvia and occupy the capital city of Riga, her home. Because the Talons are Jewish, the Soviets confiscate Max's business and the family's house and bank accounts, leaving them with nothing. Then the Nazis arrive. They kill Max and begin to round up Jews. Fearing for her newborn son and her young daughter, Ilana, Miriam asks her loyal housekeeper to hide them and conceal their Jewish roots to keep them safe until the savagery ends. 3 decades later, in Chicago, 24-year-old Sarah Bryn is mourning the untimely death of her mother, Ilana. Sarah's estranged grandmother, Miriam, attends the funeral, opening the door to shocking family secrets. Sarah probes Miriam for information about the past, but it is only when Miriam is in the hospital, delirious with fever, that she begs Sarah to find the son she left behind in Latvia. Traveling to the Soviet satellite state, Sarah begins her search with the help of Roger, a charismatic Russian-speaking professor. But as they come closer to the truth, she realizes her quest may have disastrous consequences. Sounds interesting. Anyway. Next we have The Library of Borrowed Hearts by Lucy Gilmore. Heard about this one from Chloe from Always Booked. A.J. Fickery, meets in this charming, hilarious, and moving novel about the way books bring lonely souls together. So this is comparing A.J. Fickery. 2 young lovers, 60 long years. One bookish mystery worth solving. Librarian Chloe Sampson has been struggling to take care of her 3 younger siblings, to find herself, to make ends meet. She's just about at the end of her rope when she stumbles across a rare edition of a book from the 1960s at the local flea market. Deciding it's a sign of her luck turning, she takes it home with her, only to be shocked when her cranky hermit of a neighbor swoops in and offers to buy it for an exorbitant price. Intrigued, Chloe takes a closer look at the book, only to find notes scribbled in the margins between 2 young lovers back when the book was new, one of whom is almost definitely Jasper Holmes, the curmudgeon next door. When she begins following the clues left behind, she discovers this isn't the only old book in town filled with romantic marginalia? Okay, this is a made-up word. This kickstarts a literary scavenger hunt that Chloe is determined to see through to the end. What happens to the 2 tragic lovers who corresponded in the margins of so many different library books? And what does it have to do with the old, sad man next door, who only now has begun to open his home and heart to Chloe and her siblings? I love curmudgeonly old guys for some reason. I don't know. I just have a soft spot for, grandpas. Maybe because I don't have one. I have 2 grandmas. But for some reason, I love, the granddaughter, grandfather trope. Anyway. Then we have 7 Summers by Paige Toon. This one is coming out on May 21st. I saw it in an Audible email. I love Paige Toon. The one book I read. 6 Summers to Fall in Love. 1 Summer to Change Everything. Liv and Finn meet 6 summers ago working in a barn on the rugged Cornish coastline, their futures full of promise. When a night of passion ends in devastating tragedy, they are bound together inextricably. Okay, so does that mean that's a pregnancy? When a night of passion binds you together? I'm asking because, I'll just keep reading, but anyway. But Finn's life is in LA with his band, and Liv's is in Cornwall with her family, so they make a promise. Finn will return every year, and if they are single, they will spend the summer together. This summer, Liv crosses paths with Tom, a mysterious new arrival in her hometown. As the wildflowers and heather come into bloom, they find themselves falling for one another. For the first time, Liv can imagine a world where her heart isn't broken every autumn. Now Liv must make an impossible choice, and when she discovers the shocking reason that Tom has left home, she'll need to trust her heart even more. I'm confused. If this is a pregnancy, do they just agree to meet up every summer for the kids' sake? And where is he the rest of the year? I'm having second thoughts. I don't like deadbeat dads, especially when mom's okay with deadbeat dad. Anyway, then I have a couple of books that I found through a new booktuber that I'm watching, Tammy from Believe in Your Shelf. So this is a series. The first one is The Charm Bracelet by Viola Shipman. This is the Heirloom series. So it sounds like you can read these as standalones, though. They're just called the Heirloom because each of them is about a family heirloom. But yeah, I was interested in two of them, the first and the second one. So this is The Charm Bracelet, which is book 1. Through an heirloom charm bracelet, 3 women will rediscover the importance of family and a passion for living as each charm changes their lives. On her birthday each year, Lolly's mother gave her a charm, along with the advice that there is nothing more important than keeping family memories alive. And so Lolly's charm bracelet would be a constant reminder of that love. Now 70 and starting to forget things, Lolly knows time is running out to reconnect with the daughter and granddaughter whose lives have become too busy for Lolly or her family stories. But when Arden, Lolly's daughter, receives an unexpected phone call about her mother, she and granddaughter Lauren rush home. Over the course of their visit, Lolly reveals the story behind each charm on her bracelet. And one by one, the family stories help Lolly, Arden, and Lauren reconnect in a way that brings each woman closer to finding joy, love, and faith. Then we have The Hope Chest, which is book 2. The discovery of one woman's heirloom hope chest unveils precious memories and helps 3 people who have each lost a part of themselves find joy once again. Ever since she was diagnosed with ALS, fiercely independent Maddie doesn't feel like herself. She can't navigate her beloved home, she can't go for a boat ride, and she can barely feed herself. Her devoted husband, Don, doesn't want to imagine life without his wife of nearly 50 years, but Maddie isn't likely to make it past their anniversary. But when Rose, Maddie's new caretaker, and her young daughter, Jerry, enter the couple's lives, happiness and the possibility for new memories return. Together they form a family, and Maddie is finally able to pass on her memories from the hope chest she received from her mother. With each item including a favorite doll, family dishes, an embroidered apron, and an antique Christmas ornament, the hope chest connects Maddie, Dawn, and Rose to each other and helps them find hope again in the face of overwhelming life challenges. Cool, huh? I kind of like these family stories. Third one is the recipe box, but I wasn't really that into it, so I didn't add it. But that's what it's called, in case you care. Next we have, I think this is, no, 2 more books. This is Leaning on Air by Cheryl Gray Bonstrom. I heard about this one from Amanda from Book Lover Amanda. They last spoke as teens, but on a country road 12 years later, a surprise encounter reunites ornithologist Celia Burke with veterinary surgeon Barnaby Hayes, and they plunge into the most unusual romance of her life. After a decade of marriage, Celia and Barnaby have found a unique and beautiful rhythm. Then tragedy strikes while Celia hunts for the nest of a research hawk near the Snake River. Reeling with grief, she's certain Barnaby won't understand her anguish or forgive the choice that initiated it. She flees to kindness at a remote farm in Washington's Palos region, where a wild prairie and an alluring neighbor convince her to begin anew. But when unexplained accidents, cryptic sketches, and a mute little boy make her doubt her decision, only a red-tailed hawk and the endangered lives of those she loves can compel her to examine her past and reconsider her future. From what I heard from Amanda, it sounds like Barnaby is on the spectrum. So that's part of the challenge, and I guess there's infertility issues involved and miscarriage. Trigger warnings. So, yeah. Last book. Let's end on a high note. Olivetti by Allie Millington. Heard about this one from Katie from the Currently Reading podcast. This is a middle grade book. Being a typewriter is not as easy as it looks. Surrounded by books, notorious attention hogs, and recently replaced by a computer, Olivetti has been forgotten by the Brindle family, the family he's lived with for years. The Brindles are busy humans, apart from 12-year-old Ernest, who would rather be left alone with his collection of Oxford English dictionaries. The least they could do was remember Olivetti once in a while, since he remembers every word they've typed on him. It's a thankless job, keeping memories alive. Olivetti gives a rare glimpse of action from Ernest's mom, Beatrice, his used to be most frequent visitor, only for her to drop him off at Heartland Pawn Shop and leave him helplessly behind. When Olivetti learns Beatrice has mysteriously gone missing afterwards, he believes he could help find her. He breaks the only rule of the typewriter code and types back to Ernest, divulging Beatrice's memories stored inside him. Their search takes them across San Francisco, chasing clues, maybe committing a few misdemeanors. As Olivetti spills out the past, Ernest is forced to face what he and his family have been running from: the everything that happened. Only by working together will they find Beatrice, belonging, and the parts of themselves they've lost. So yeah, this is a magical typewriter. I'm all in. Anyway, those are all the books that I've added so far. I'm sure I'm going to have more because there's so many summer reading guides coming out. So we'll see. Anyway, please like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll talk to you guys in my next video. Bye.
Speech. Stop recording video.